Hello, Bennington. My name is Mr. Hofer, and you found your way into APUS history. Oftentimes in AP, we will have information we need to cover outside of class, and one way that I'll be doing that is to create a YouTube video. So be sure that you check our classroom Moodle or my YouTube page to receive these instructions or the videos with information in them as required. The purpose of this video is to welcome you to APUS history and to cover some basic details from the syllabus. Now, I'm assuming you all can read, and so I don't intend to read the full syllabus from start to finish, but I would encourage you to take a look at it and read through it. Information about classroom exams and homework policy and our curriculum guide and all the typical things you would find on a syllabus. I assume that you'll be able to take a look at those on your own. The purpose of this video is to cover the major things, okay? The stuff that I think you really need to consider at the beginning of class here, the beginning of the semester, as we move forward. First, though, a little bit about me. Again, I'm Mr. Hofer, and this is my family. My wife, Ann, who's a nurse practitioner at Lakeside, my oldest daughter, Alice, who's going into 3rd grade at Pine Creek, and Aubrey, my toothless daughter, who's going into kindergarten, also at Pine Creek. We spend a lot of time outdoors in the summer, camping, hiking. This is Aubrey. When we went to Yellowstone National Park, she is still very much attached to her blanket and is a thumbsucker and a little bit of a daddy's girl. This is Alice. She is destined for the theater. She's the biggest drama queen that I know of in the 3rd grade, which makes her near and dear to my heart because I'm a speech and theater nerd myself. This is my family. I'm the oldest of 3 kids. My sister is in the black and white. Her name's Mariah. My brother in the white tie and glasses is the middle child. His name's Mike. My mom and her husband, Tony. And then my grandparents on my left side there, Pete and Joe. I think my grandpa Pete is one of my heroes in life. He's a lifelong farmer and one of the smartest men. I mean, a math whiz. To be honest, and just a good person, good role model. Anyway, that's a little bit about my family and my upbringing. I grew up, graduated from Yankton, South Dakota in 2001, so you can do the math to figure out how old I am. On our first day of class, I'll be asking you to consider, what are your goals? Why did you wander into an AP history class as opposed to general history? What is it that pushed you in that direction? And I'm hoping some of your answers line up with what I anticipate they will be. Are you taking AP to pass the AP test? Do you want to get that college credit? I think that's one of the primary reasons people choose to take this class. In order to pass the AP test, you need a 3. I hope that your goal is to crush it. And I have set this class up in a way that is designed to get you to that goal, passing the AP test with a 4 or a 5. Maybe you're a history nerd. I'm a lover of history for history's sake. That's me, but it's not for everybody. Some people look at history as something that they want to keep in the past. And maybe some of you, in order to avoid taking history in the future, are taking AP history now instead of in college. And I think, again, that comes back to goal number 1, which is passing the AP test. The objective of this course is to increase your knowledge of U.S. history, but establishing the goal that you will pass with flying colors the AP exam. Okay. Along with that, I think one of the reasons people avoid history is the sense of, well, what's the value of this? So it happened, big deal. okay? It's just a bunch of old dead white guys and rote memorization of facts. And my hope is that once you're finished with my class, you will no longer have that sense, that opinion. Perhaps the reason you're taking the class is to improve your skills, your academic skills in reading, writing, and analytical thinking. As I mentioned, perhaps it's a matter of getting history out of the way so that you can move forward in college to other things of interest. I hope that when you leave AP US History that you have a stronger appreciation for history. But there is one really important reason to take AP History. In fact, it's 840 reasons to take AP History, and that's the fact that general college credit, for example, at UNL is $280. Okay, when you figure that your Intro to History class is 3 credits, you're looking at almost $1,000 to take history. Okay, if I offered you at the very first day $1,000 to take this course and do the very best that you're capable of doing, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you would definitely sign up for that. Well, here's your opportunity. Keep in the back of your mind that if you pass this class with a 3 or better, or if you pass the AP test with a 3 or better, you're going to get that college credit. You're going to be $840 ahead of the person who has to take history or has to take a general ed class in place of what could have been done in high school. And because Bennington loves you so much, they're going to reimburse you for your AP test. Okay, this is free. So there are going to be times in this year where you're having one of those valley experiences and you lose sight of, why am I doing this to myself? Remind yourself, it's best to do things right the first time. You're saving yourself money. You're improving those college skills. You are going to get an intro to history that's better, above and beyond what your intro to history class would be like in college setting. And this makes financial and academic success. So with that, because this is intended to take the place of a college intro to history class, this course is taught at a rigorous collegiate level. Okay. In the comfort of your own home or wherever you're watching this video, you can be honest with yourself. We all have told ourselves that we're not going to crack a textbook. Maybe there are some of you that pride yourself in never having cracked a textbook. You cannot accomplish the goal of passing the AP test without cracking the books. Okay, this class is going to demand that you are prepared to read and you are prepared to write. Okay, 60% of the total grade of the AP test is based on your ability to read and analyze primary sources. Okay, to summarize in essay format a thesis, a perspective on a historical issue. And so with the goal in mind of passing that AP test, we are going to practice writing. And it requires for you, in order to have a sound knowledge of the content, to read. Okay, it's unavoidable. So be prepared to read, be prepared to write. My job is not to teach you what you can discover for yourself through a textbook or Google. Okay, the former approach to teaching and learning history of rote memorization of names, dates, historic facts are done. Okay, school education requires more of you now. And I empathize with you. I was not, when I was in high school, these things were not expected of me. Okay, because you have access to the internet, you're expected to be able to use your brain and use those skills that you have to do more than just regurgitate what you could look up on Google in a quick 5 seconds. Okay. My job is to focus on making you better readers, writers, and thinkers. Strong understanding of historic analysis. Okay. Context. How do we put history into context? How do we see similarities and differences across history? Compare and contrast, right? We'll go over the different historic analysis skills, but at the heart of it is a deeper level of thinking. So whether or not you ever touch another history book after this year, when you are presented a question in life, or when you're presented with information that requires a perspective, you have those academic skills to pick that question apart and put together information in a new and a unique way and present it. Those are skills that you can't learn just by simply Googling. Those are skills that you can't learn just, by any other means than practice. Okay. And so this is a good environment to do that with a focus on history. The demand of work. Now, I'm a fairly slow reader. I'll admit that about myself. And so, if we are moving at a pretty quick pace where you'll be reading several chapters a week or a couple chapters a week. The time it takes to read and take notes at home, you're looking at a very minimum of 7 hours of homework a week. And if you're intending to pass the AP test, okay, this is what's going to be required of you to keep your head above water and to do well on the AP exam. This means, again, reading in your own time, taking notes over your reading in your own time. It means tuning into these video sessions, lecture sessions that I'll be doing online as a flipped instructional approach, so that when you come to class, we can get into the analytical side, looking at information and trying to interpret history and experience history and work on these skills together, as opposed to sending them off to home with you as homework, where oftentimes it gets copied and pasted around the lunchroom table. Okay, so this class will require some work out of you. The one expectation I want to address in this lecture, and again, I have several class expectations you can look at in the syllabus, but the one expectation that I want to emphasize now is academic integrity. Okay. Written assignments will be turned in to turn it in. Okay. The software that checks for plagiarism. Okay. There's a zero tolerance for academic dishonesty, cheating of any kind. The plagiarism is a hot button issue. Plagiarism is defined as submitting work that is taken from others or copied verbatim from the internet or other sources and claiming it as your own. Okay? It's not giving proper citation or proper credit to the sources or resources that the information was taken from. And we're just going to draw a real hard, concrete line with that. If plagiarism takes place, it will result in a zero. It will result in the contact of administration and your parents, and there will be no opportunity to remake or retake plagiarized assignments. This also applies to individuals that give their unique or their original work to someone else to be copied. Okay, so it's not just the person that copies, but those people that provide their own material to others for it to be plagiarized are equally responsible for and will be held responsible equally. So please maintain hard, fast, and elevated academic integrity. Okay. When you do something right, it may take a little extra work on the front end, but on the back end, you'll be better for it, and it won't be something that you regret. Okay, so are you nervous? Don't be. Okay, I am not here to hammer you. Okay, I am not somebody who gets my joy out of seeing you suffer. Okay, I am somebody that my intention as your teacher is to be in your corner. Okay, the reason that I'm setting such high standards, the reason that I'm holding such a high set of standards as far as academic integrity and your responsibility in learning the content is because I want it to be true that if you do well in my class, you will do well on the exam. Okay, that's my goal, is to prepare you to the best of my ability to take that AP test in May. Okay, and so I'm in your corner. All right. Now, some of you, most of you who are dedicated to academic excellence might be wondering, if you are taking a big risk here with your GPA, is it worth it to go into AP history where a lot is going to be expected out of me, the grading and expectations as far as performance are going to be higher, if that's worth the risking, your academic track record? Well, my answer to that is an emphatic yes. Okay, this class will reward you for risk taking. Okay, I'm proud of all of you for signing up for this. But at some point you said, I'm able or I'm willing to put my neck out there a little bit further and do something above and beyond what's expected, the bare minimum expectations are. Okay, and so I built in to the syllabus, into the class, a few carrots, okay, a few incentives to take risks and work hard to do well on the AP exam and not worry so much about your high school GPA. All right, a couple of those, and we can discuss these more at length, but each quarter, so in the 4 quarters of the school year, I will allow you to drop one set of note grades. Okay, if you missed them, if you didn't turn them in, and you're facing a 0, once a quarter, you can drop one set of notes. Okay, you can also drop one multiple choice test per quarter. Okay, and that doesn't include the cumulative finals at the end of the semester, but pretty regularly, once every couple of weeks, we have a chapters test, multiple choice, 60 points, 50 questions, where, let's face it, you're working hard. Sometimes things don't get done to the best of your ability. Sometimes there's something you just didn't get. I want you to know that that isn't the end of the world. Okay, and so once a quarter, you can drop a set of notes, and once a quarter, you can drop a test. Okay, so that's 4 tests, 4 sets of notes over an 18-week period. As I just mentioned, these tests are based on 50 multiple choice questions, okay? But I'm going to increase the value of the points to 60. So there's a built-in 20% credit into the test. So you take 50 questions, you're graded on 50 questions, but then I add an additional 10 points to get you up to 60 points. So in a way, it's extra credit, but it's not extra credit because you didn't do anything for that. That is out of recognition that the academic rigor of AP is higher than general history. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of buffer room for your GPA. Okay, and then one last option, you can read more specifically on this in the syllabus, but I also want to present you with what I call the shoot the moon option. Okay, so you're busting your hump all year long. Okay, and if you happen to be struggling academically in my class, and you feel like really it's just a matter of you've had tough breaks, or maybe I as a teacher haven't somehow taught things in the way that you like to be taught. Okay, you can prove to me you know your stuff. You can prove to yourself and the world that you know your stuff when it gets to AP test time. Okay, at the end of the semester, you take that AP test, you pass it with a 3. I will increase your grade by 1 whole letter grade. So if you consider yourself an A student, but for some reason you've been getting a B in Mr. Hofer's class the whole year long, and you pass the AP test, you're going to go from a B to an A. Okay? Similarly, if you crush the AP test, if you don't just pass it with a 3, but you crush it with a 4 or a 5, I'm going to give you an A. Okay? There's a couple of caveats to that, right? Number one, you can't be missing any assignments or work outside of the dropped notes and tests per quarter, okay? So not going to offer these opportunities to people that just chronically don't turn in their work, all right? So you need to be sure that you're staying on top of your work and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you get a 4 or a 5 at the end of the term, whatever your grade is will be bumped up to an A so long as your homework is in, okay? Ultimately, if there's late work that's completed poorly, or it appears that someone's taking advantage of this offer, I have the final say and the ability to accept or reject this opportunity for each person. But I want to celebrate you passing the AP test at the end of the year. Okay? So check out the syllabus, read it over, review some of these things that I've been talking about. You can do it. All right? You've got this. I'm going to help you get there. And you're going to go to college $840 richer, okay? 3 semester credits ahead of the person that didn't take this test, and a better thinker and a better historian because you did it, okay? Because you busted your hump as a junior this year, okay? So I hope I've alleviated some of your concerns. I want you to strongly consider pledging to pass the APUSH test today. Okay, remember, BHS reimburses students that take the AP exam. That'll be on May 10th. All right. Right now, beginning of the year, where you've got maximum amount of energy, maximum amount of motivation, right? Your heart is in the right place. Consider writing that check today, okay, and turning it in as extra motivation that, gosh darn it, I'm dedicated to taking this test. I already have paid the money. I'm going to do what I can so that I get college credit for this. School's going to reimburse me whether I pass it or not. So for $0, I took a big risk and came out way ahead. All right. So this ends my lecture, my note session on the syllabus. Please contact me at mhofer@bennps.org, my email address. If you have any questions or concerns, come in and talk to me before or after school. Thanks for watching, and go Badgers.